Over the next few weeks, I will be sharing a series of discussions with several of my friends on mission titled How a Disciple Making Movement, or DMM, helps to meet the needs of the community. Each of the guests live in neighborhoods, communities, and cultures within those communities with a diversity of people and needs. And they are all representing Christ and helping bring his peace in ways that are culturally relevant and theologically sound. I am excited to share this with you and encourage you not to miss any of the episodes with the guest in this series. Now prepare to engage with this week's episode. My name is Thomas Clark, and welcome to the Takeoff Podcast, where myself and guests help equip you to bring the peace of God to the place you live, work, learn, and play, all for his glory. Every problem is a discipleship problem. Being a disciple of Christ does not guarantee that we will not have problems. It does, however, give us the tools to face the challenges of life that come our way. My worldview is that Christ transforms culture, and he does it through his followers. The goal of Takeoff is to equip you for movemental thinking when it comes to making disciples. This is season 4, and I am excited about all the possibilities and everything we have lined up for this season. Okay, let's get into it. And this is season 4, and we're so glad that you all are engaging with us in the Takeoff with Thomas Clark podcast. And I've been promising you that we would have friends on mission on. We've done it in the past with Stephen Bonner, who one of the friends on mission who came on. Some of the other friends during the previous season. We had a little scheduling conflict, but that's okay. We worked it out. We were able to work it all out. And now I'm just going to keep throwing friends at you all. Yes. Because what we're doing in describing, laying the foundation, and talking about a disciple making movement, or DMM, is something everyone can do. Yes, literally everyone can do this. And so to that end, I wanted to bring on some of my friends on the mission so that they are able to talk about how they're living into this. This episode we're talking about is part of a series, and we're talking about how to truly meet the needs of the community. And so I wanted to bring my friends on to talk about how God, through their lives, are helping meet the needs of the community in which they live. And one thing you'll see, hear, and learn is that I have friends in various communities, diverse places. And so what happens in one community is not necessarily what happens in another community, yet it's still the same Jesus. The same Jesus, but peace looks different in different communities. So with that, I'm so glad to have their last name is Bonner, but my grandson calls him Bonners, and literally he's talking to one. They ain't just both, like, he's not saying it because they're talking to both of them. He just looks at one and says Bonners. And so Bonners are on, Mr. and Mrs. Bonners are on. And so first of all, this is Stephen and Joanna Bonner, who are here, and I'm going to ask both of them to just tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Thank you, Bishop. Thank you for having us as part of your podcast. Again, as Bishop just said, I'm Stephen Bonner. I serve as one of the staff pastors in Bolingbrook, Illinois, which is one of our southwest suburbs, way out southwest, out in Bolingbrook. 43 years old, married right here with my wife, and we have 5 children, from adult all the way down to the baby who was 15, who was actually bigger than all of us.
Yeah, they got a basketball team, y'all. Okay. All right. And Joanna, tell us a bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Juguana Bonner. Thank you for having me on, Bishop, also. And it's a pleasure to be on this podcast so we can tell the world everything that they need to know.
All right. All right. Y'all hear that? That's a lofty goal right there she has. We're going to tell y'all everything you need to know. Everything. That's all good. That's all good. No, this is going to be fun. I'm glad to have you all. Again, if we're talking about the idea in this episode, you all, in this series, really, of how to truly meet the needs of the community. And the truth of the matter is, only Christ can transform culture and help us address the needs of the community. So there's really no way any of us can do it by ourselves. We need Him, and with that, then we have to though be incarnate. And I'm going to define it in 1 second. But the truth of the matter is, talking about being incarnate or infleshed, only Jesus truly is the only one who can fully be incarnate. We cannot be. We came here in flesh. He was not flesh, put on flesh to come here and to live with us. Yet, because of the missional incarnational impulse, we are incarnate in the sense that He lives through us. So when we show up, because we're in Christ and Christ is in us, then He should show up also. There should really never should be a time when we show up and some people say, lay my religion down or leave Christ someplace else. No, He should show up with us all the time. And that really should be in our first, second, and third places. So the first place, we talk about first place, and define this also with Alicia. In each episode in this series, I would define it again, because maybe someone's first time here, they may have forgotten, which is fine. But the first place is the community in which we live. And since Jesus is Lord, then in truth, our home is not our castle, but our home instead is subject to the lordship of Christ. And so we get involved in the community in which we live. We identify the needs of the community. We live as persons of peace, meeting persons of peace in the community, and we see how He's already moved, God is already moving, and we join Him in that. So here's my question for both of you all. How have you been incarnate where you live?
So for us out here, one of the ways that we are incarnate is by doing our 2 by 2 by 2, and the 2 by 2 by 2 rhythm is a monthly rhythm where we do 2 times of worship, inclusive of DBS, where we invite those in the places we live, work, learn, and play. But then also we do 2 times of serving others in our mission field. Then we do 2 times of social momentum, and so that way we can engage those in the place where we live.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Joanna? I mean, where you been incarnate, let Christ show up in the flesh through you where you live?
Yes, Bishop. I remember when we first started the 2 by 2 by 2, we invited our neighbors. We went to each individual house and invited our neighbors to a social momentum that we had. Um, and it was a husband and wife couple, and we explained what we were doing, and they came, and even they brought something for the social momentum, saying that they thanked us for doing that because no one else ever did that in the community for them.
Wow. Okay. All right. All right. So you were able to engage your neighbors in that way and really show up and be present. And again, when we're present and we're in Christ and Christ shows up through us, yeah, that's good. Um,
And what else, Bishop, outside of the 2 by 2 by 2, because it's not just when it's time for those rhythms that we engage with the people in our mission field. It can just happen randomly. Like it's not always something that's planned. The 2 by 2 by 2 is planned. Like we know on this day we're doing this. But as far as engaging with our neighbors, it has become an everyday thing for us. So when we pull in the driveway, we're seeking opportunities to engage with those that's outside. If they're driving in their driveway, we take the time, regardless of how much we may want to get in the house. Hey, they go our neighbor across the street. Let's stop and have a conversation with him, or the neighbor right next door to us. We always take that time to engage with them when we see them. So it's not just waiting for those rhythms, it's a something that we have to be attentive to and open to. So when those opportunities present themselves, we jump right into it. And that's another way that we are incarnate out here in Bolingbrook.
So I'm gonna ask a question. I'm going to probably by way of assumption, and I'm going to not even go into as people say. You know, when you assume what that means, no, and no, no. But but by way of assumption, I would imagine that from what you just said, there's been at least one, maybe more than one time, maybe several times that when you've just shown up in somebody's life, you found out it was actually what they needed right then.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's happened. That's happened on more than one occasion.
Okay.
And it's actually has led us to be able to live into the longest and losses of people, because we understand that everyone has longer than losses, including us. But then that's what help us get to know people better, because we are keen on inviting people into our lives until they trust us enough to invite us back into theirs.
Wow.
So that's why it's key that we seize these opportunities. And oftentimes with our neighbors, sometimes they'll share things that almost leave you speechless, and it's like, wow, did they just really share that with me? But then but I didn't understand that we created this relationship with them where they feel they can be vulnerable, they feel they can be transparent, and just like they're transparent with us and sharing their longs and losses, as we share with them and be transparent with them for the experiences we've had, we recognize that we all have something in common. We all have some type of shared history, and that what makes us bond with the neighbors that we're connected to right now. Now we're trying to do that with like all the neighbors on our block, but our block is like huge. It's like 39 houses. So we got a lot of work to do. But there are some, when we see them, it's just a genuine conversation. It's not something that has to be planned. It's just, hey, when we see each other, it starts and it just goes from there. We could stand outside in the middle of the street talking for 45 minutes to an hour. So it's just something that we always pray to the Lord for, to help us to be attentive to his voice too, so that when those opportunities are there, we don't want to miss them. We don't want to miss them. We want to make sure that we seize every opportunity.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you so much for coming by the podcast page. I really appreciate it. Hopefully the information that is shared has and will be able to benefit you and also the people you know. Listen, if it has been, or you believe it will benefit you, I'm asking you to do me two favors. First of all, please follow. Yeah, click follow. That way, every time a new episode is released, you will be alerted and you can stay current on everything that we're talking about. But additionally, I'm going to ask that you consider supporting. Your financial support goes a long way to help me help others and the work that we're doing in creating disciple-making movements. For your monthly or yearly support, not only will you receive access to episodes before everyone else does, but you also will, on a monthly basis, have a live Q&A with me where I will be able to answer questions based on the episodes and questions you may have from what's been shared. There's only so much that myself and my guests can say during the podcast recordings, but during the live Q&A, we can take a deeper dive into questions you may have, ways that we've seen it play out and work out, and perhaps even some suggestions that you may have that we may be able to comment on to help you and help equip you to help bring the peace of God to the places you live, work, learn, and play. Thank you again for following and for supporting. I appreciate it. That's good. I like that. I mean, there's so much to unpack with that. what you said. Are you talking about inviting people into your life until they trust you enough to invite you back into their lives? You talk about leaning into the longer than losses, having that shared history with people, and that's powerful. And then you talk about how big your block is, and there's more work to be done. So several things. My gosh, as you were talking, my mind was spinning because one is the idea that in a disciple making movement, and again, for those who are engaging with us in this episode, we really that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about quote unquote church as usual. We're talking about a true DMM, and and in a DMM, in a disciple making movement, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It is
Mm-hmm.
not about just trying to hurry up and get something done. It's about using the time, because time is a gift. I've said that in previous episodes. Time is a gift, not a commodity. And because it's a gift, then we wisely use it. And sometimes it takes longer to meet people and for whatever. But that's what Christ did. It's interesting. Christ walked everywhere he went, but he was never late anywhere he went. And that's interesting. We rush and I imagine you talking about 39 houses. You probably drive to the corner. Then you need to go to the corner. but but yet he walked everywhere and was never late anywhere, because it's about using the time wisely, and that slow walk that allows you to really see what's going on with your neighbors, but also for your neighbor to see what's going on with you. And the other thing, when you said that made me think about, is how many times we've been so guarded and scared to be transparent,
Mm-hmm.
and we want people to think, whether consciously or not, that we have it all together, whether we're consciously think it or subconsciously. Because if you grew up like I grew up, my parents would say, look, don't you tell nobody this family's business. And yet the people right next door are hurting,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't know if they can even relate to you. But when you said that, as far as sharing with people, uh, and that comes with relationship, it comes with inviting people in, and so that I like that. That's good. That is good, because I think that's how I believe, I know that's how Christ wants us to show up with people. He wants us to do that. If we're going to make disciples and people really follow Him, really following Him, then and not just his teaching. That's from the first episode in this season, when we talked about the fact that following Christ really meant following the person, not just the teachings. We're following Christ, and we're gonna follow Christ. Then we have to show up like that in ways that is vulnerable and even transparent. That's good.
Yep.
That's good.
As you was talking, Bishop, you mentioned like that slow walk, and we're creating a disciple making movement. And for anyone who's engaging with us, I would encourage them to understand, if you're going to be a part of the disciple making movement, this disciple making movement, following Jesus and helping to spread his peace, we all have to understand that it's a slow. Otherwise, can get discouraged. That's something I experienced when we first started this. It was like, I've been talking to this person for 4 weeks. Why they ain't following Jesus yet? And it's like, okay, I'm not doing something right, or they just don't want him or something like that. But then as time went on, it's like, no, it really takes time, because it starts with that relationship. So you got to build that bond with them first, and then you go from just having those general regular conversations, and then all of a sudden now you having the meaningful and spiritual conversations. So it takes time to build up to that.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That is good. It does. It takes time. Um, we're talking about being incarnate in our first, second, and third places, and the Bonners have shared about their first place. So we'll move to the second place. Second place is the community and place in which we work, and we should be known. We should know and be known by the people with whom we work. I used this analogy that I'm about to use with you all now when talking with Nalisha, and I quoted from Gene Vaith in his book God at Work, who quotes Martin Luther, who says that our vocation is a mask of God. God hides himself in the workplace, the family, the church, and seemingly secular society. To speak of God being hidden is a way of describing his presence, much like when a child hides in a room, being there yet unseen. And to find him in vocation brings him literally down to earth and makes us see how close he really is to us and transfigures everyday life. And so that's important, uh, because even in a lot of our workplaces where it almost seems taboo to talk about the Lord there, yet because you're there, then he's there also, incarnate through you, hidden through you until it's time to be revealed. So I want to ask both of you, how have you been incarnate where you work?
So where I work, I'm an investigator for a big box retailer, and so I'm the one that's supposed to ensure everybody else's enforces policies and procedures. And one of their policies is we don't talk about following God, following Jesus, or anything like that, for religion, period, in the workplace. But as a follower of Christ, I understand that policy, but I can't follow it because everywhere I am, I need to be representing him. So how I do that is I have conversations with people. You know, I listen with compassion. That's one of the five blessed rhythms, and listening is one of the things I use in the workplace. So as I'm listening and people start to talk, I'm seeking for that way to jump in and talk about Jesus. So in doing that over the years, there are people now, like I can be in the office and one of my friends there, her name is Debbie. She'll come to me and she's very transparent about what's going on with her, and she'll just come and say, "Hey, Steve, I know we in this office, but can you pray? Can you pray for me in regards to the circumstances that she's facing?" And I say, "Sure," you know. And I just assumed because she's the same role I am, she didn't mean right there. So I said, "Okay, yeah, I pray for you," and went to walk off. And she said, "Where you going?" She said, "I want you to pray for me now." She's like, "I don't care about us being in this office." She was like, "I need prayer right now." She like, "I don't care what other people see, think, or they feel we shouldn't be doing this." She said, "If you okay with it," I said, "I'm okay with it." And we prayed right there in the middle of the floor with everybody else in their cubicles and their offices. And we did it, you know, and also, you know, with some other people, like some of the people that work under me. I'll share I will statement with them, and it'll stem out of a conversation that they started. It may not have been a conversation in regards to Jesus, but it was a conversation that led for me to put him in there. Just like you mentioned when the podcast started, you know, about the things going on across the world right now. You know, somebody mentioned something about deportation and all that kind of stuff going on and how they feel it's unfair. And it led to where we had a full conversation around an I will statement I had created that week. And it tied in with their question about why things happen in the way they're happening. And it's just seeking those opportunities, and when they present themselves, take advantage of it. We can't wait. We have to jump on it because that's the time the doors open to help introduce them people that we're connected to Jesus.
You know, I like that because again, it's organic. It's organic, and I think before I get to Joanna answering the same question, I just want to say one thing, and that is the idea that organically you're doing this first of all where you live, now where you work. It shows, because we're talking about the type maker movement. It shows how Christ wants to move and operate through us outside the four walls of a building. That
Mm-hmm.
he's not limited to what traditionally people said the church building. Instead, because the church is the presence of Jesus in the people of Jesus everywhere all the time, then no matter where we are, church is right there.
That's
So
right.
I like that. I like that. Okay, Joanna, same thing with you. How have you been incarnate where you work?
So I also as a cashier at a major retail box also. Um, and my story with dealing with customers, just the fact that we never know what a person goes through. So therefore, I remember this time. This was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. The customer needed something, but I couldn't go. I couldn't go right at the time to get it. So I sent my other coworker to get it for her. And she was literally. She thanked me, and she literally was in tears because she said no. She was talking on the phone to someone, and she was like, "This lady, she just went out her way to help me, which no one ever, no one ever helped me like that." And she offered. She said, is it okay if I give you a hug?" I said, "Sure, it's okay." And she said, when she gave me a hug, she said, "Thank you so much, and God bless you. You have a good night." And I said, "You also."
Wow, wow, that's good. That is good that publicly you do that. And honestly, none of us will ever really know how other people are encouraged, impacted, or affected because we allow Christ to show up through us. We'll never know. Sometimes, I mean, some people get to come and say, "Thank you for what you did with that person. I saw what you were doing, Stephen or Joanna, with so and so and so. This is how it impacted me." But then there's sometimes people who never tell us. And truth of the matter is, it's not about us anyway.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It is what does matter is that God gets the glory, and that He is seen again through us, and perhaps they're able to go and inquire more about Him, or even for those who are believers, to really be bold in their faith and take their next step towards true discipleship, to be true disciples, because you can be a believer and not a disciple. And so they take the next step in their walk with Christ. Say, you know what? I can be bold with him also because I've seen the boldness of Stephen or Joanna. Then I also can be bold and represent Christ in this way, in this place. Now that's good. I mean, one of the things I had to do when I was working on my master's uh, in missional church movements, in that very first class, apostolic movements class, is I had to watch the movie Pay It Forward. And I'm not going into detail. I don't want to spoil it in case people are going to see. You know, it's old, so if I spoil it, I mean, you should have saw it before. So whatever. But still, anyway. But the whole idea though was, if someone does the idea was that the hero in this, the child actor in this, was a student who was tasked with an assignment of creating a movement where people, instead of paying back what someone has done, they pay forward the good that's done. So if someone does something good to you or for you, you do something good for somebody else. But the thing you ask them to do when they say, "Well, how can I repay you?" You say, "No, no, no. The way you repay me is to pay it forward. Go do something good for 3 people that you don't know." And that is incredible, because that's how movement starts. And the whole idea behind that was helping us. How do you start a movement? You get people to pay it forward. That's what we're doing inside Making Movement. We're trying to get people to pay it forward to go make disciples of other people. And when Stephen said that you share your "I will" statement with other people, and Joanna said they give you a hug and everything else, it's an opportunity then, as you share Christ with them, to help them go do the same thing with somebody else. Go do it with somebody. Don't pay it back to me. I'm already with him.
Mm-hmm.
Go pay it
Yep.
forward. And that's how movement starts. And this is a good place for us to stop for right now. But there's so much more that Stephen Bonner and Joanna Bonner shared um, during this time of discussion on how to meet the needs of the community. Matter of fact, we're going to give you more in next episode, but let me give you a sneak peek right now.
There's times that we've invited some of our people here in the mission field to come hang out with us in nearby places, like to go play golf or go bowling or something like that. Something where it wouldn't even been an event necessarily. It's just like, hey, me and my family is going to hang out. Why don't y'all come with us?
You do not want to miss the next episode. Well, before we end this one, what's your I will statement? Just based on what you've heard so far, what is it that you believe God is telling you to start or stop doing? And of course, who are you going to share it with to help you be accountable to keep your word? Thank you for engaging with us. Please consider supporting, and by all means, share this podcast with the people you know who can benefit from it. And as always, let's take off.